should be supporting it.
First time, any only correction.
I'll tell my civics the title. They came out really. Yeah. This is really nice. Yeah, with their names and stuff. That is gorgeous.
I did all this here, but I still those right, but I got that one.
So next year you can also so that's when you can, you know, that's so nice. That's a great picture. And they get their jerseys and excuse me? Yeah, so then we'll end up having to get boxes. You know, like these were my booger, my baby. Cute. Right? Yeah. I gotta come back with my phone and take a picture. They just came out awesome. I love it, yeah.
I'm going to test this out. Can everybody hear me if I talk like this right here? Yeah. Awesome. I would like to welcome everyone to the 2012 Raritan Football Banquet. 2012 might have been a forgettable season, but for me, it was filled with unforgettable people who I will cherish for the rest of my career. I couldn't be more proud of these gentlemen, and I'm excited to pay tribute to their accomplishments this afternoon. Before we start the trophy ceremony and introduce our honored guest, I'd like to quickly address a few groups here today. To the parents, I would like to thank you for your continued support through this trying year. As your boys mature and continue to grow, they too will realize that this season was twice as difficult for all of you. Suffering your first defeat in the stands and your second defeat at home. I too got to see firsthand the disappointment on their faces. I wanted so much to find the right words or the right actions after the game to fix the ailments that only a win could fix. And then they reported back to you. By the time I saw them again, it was back to business, back to the grind, back to preparing for the next opponent. You were the remedy to their heartache and disappointment, and you stood strong for them, as you always have. How hard that was for you week to week is not lost on me. I admire your toughness to stay so positive and supportive while continuing to push them forward. It was a lasting influence on me while raising my own son to continue to help pick him up, brush him off, and send him back to whatever endeavor he currently is involved in, knowing that further pain, injury, or adversity is sure to come his way. To my players, the scoreboard, our record, that does not define you. That is not what a man is judged by. Don't allow anyone to characterize you by your wins or losses. You have much more to offer to impact this world positively than a win or a loss can ever give. The burden of this season will fall on your head coach's shoulders and his alone. And I will continue to work tirelessly to make you proud of this program. To my coaches, young and old, offense and defense, I thank you for your effort and standing beside me in the foxhole. You are what makes season after season special. You are why our players continue to play and fight. This was never more evident to me than after reading these players' evaluations of this past year. You are changing lives for the better. You are being positive role models, and that is something special. I hope this continues to motivate you in the upcoming year. Your love for football needs to be at an all-time high. Your motivation to grind and prepare, to love and to teach, to discipline and be disciplined will never be set to a higher standard in the year to come. Anything less will be unacceptable, and we will together, with the help of all you, return this program to greatness. With that being said, it is just football. It's important. I made it my life, but it's just football. The tragic event Friday in Newtown, Connecticut has left the country once again in despair. I don't know why people do the things that they do, but I do know that we, the good people that we have here today, can help limit these acts and atrocities by continuing to do the little things that we all do every day. Make eye contact when in conversation, ask a passing stranger how their day is going, make time for a friend, and lend a helping hand for those less fortunate. If we could all rise and let us take a moment of silence and remember the 26 innocent victims and pray for the families. Thank you. I think it's about time to get this thing started, so without further ado, I would like to introduce this year's honored faculty member. I've had the privilege of working with Melissa Trenton for the most part of my career. The first thing that strikes you as a colleague of Ms. Trenton's is how much she impresses the students that she teaches. They view her as a mentor, a friend, confidant, and a figure of respect. I've come to know her strength and courage, and I've come to appreciate her optimism and her positive attitude. I often tell the players, and it's usually after they've gotten in trouble or they haven't put their best foot forward, I tell them that I wish that everyone could see them the way that I see them, and I hope that for them. Ms. Trenton affirms my vision, and she answers my wish, because she sees your boys the same way I do and that you do. She made my day this season on more than one occasion by reporting something positive about a player in her class. If more teachers went out of their way to emphasize the positives, I think education in general would take another huge stride. She reminds me of a great quote used frequently by Bill Parcells. Don't tell me what a guy can't do. Tell me about what he does well, and let's try to let him flourish. Ms. Trenton was a graduate of Rumson Fairhaven and later went on to study and earn a degree in Latin and Ancient Greek at Rutgers University. She has been teaching for 20 years now, and we are lucky to have her influencing the children of Hazlitt and West Kingsburg. Ms. Trenton.
Thank you very much for inviting me to the banquet today. It's a welcome distinction, especially because the players and coaches epitomize all that is honorable and genuine in athletics, and they represent Raritan so well. You might think that the connection between football and Latin is non-existent. However, the philosophies of the ancient Romans are followed by many athletes and teams today. The Roman Empire flourished because of similar characteristics one would find on a modern sports team. The Romans trained, practiced, and skillfully executed military maneuvers and gladiatorial tactics as the Rockets do in their daily practices today. First, surprisingly, there have been a few very successful football coaches who have also been Latin teachers. I will just mention one, Vince Lombardi. His successful coaching career made him a legacy and the namesake for the trophy of the Super Bowl. Who would have ever guessed He began as a Latin teacher in North Jersey. He has recited many notable quotes. For example, I firmly believe that any man's finest hour, the greatest fulfillment of all he holds dear, is that moment when he has worked his heart out in good cause and lies exhausted on the field of battle, victorious. Another quote from Lombardi, individual commitment to a group effort. That is what makes a team work, a company work, a society work, a civilization work. Both of these quotes and many others are founded in the philosophies of the great authors and heroes of ancient Rome. Aeneas, the epic hero and the founder of Rome, struggled through the destruction of his homeland and many defeats in order to establish one of the greatest cities ever. In literature, he is always part of a team or a group. He doesn't achieve success without the assistance of others. Another hero of Rome, Cincinnatus, bravely fought and defended Rome from neighboring tribes, but didn't want glory or fame. He returned to his farm in obscurity. You can even see artifacts from Rome which depict various battle tactics, and they look quite similar to modern football plays with X's and O's. In order to achieve greatness on the football field and the battlefield, one must practice the next philosophy, animus sanus in corpore sano. And if you wear ASIC sneakers, you're wearing the traditional Latin motto's acronym, a sound mind and a sound body. The Romans had baths with exercise areas placed throughout the city, so individuals could work on their physical fitness in order to survive the mean streets of Rome and its empire. They believed in order to have mental acuity and intelligence, you had to be physically fit. The two are not exclusive from one another. The players and coaches here perhaps unknowingly train with this motto. Academics are my top priority, as well as the coaches. They focus on the sound mind and encourage the students to work on their class activities, seeking assistance before and after school, and the students really do. In addition, their rigorous practice, of which I hear banters about in the halls, sounds grueling and torturous. However, the attendance rate of the football players is phenomenal. They are never absent during football season. They practice a sound body. They train in the off-season and summer. They are always thinking about the next battle to come. This brings me to my next and my final philosophy, carpe diem, which you all have probably heard and loosely means seize the day. Yet it's been misinterpreted. The author also wrote carpe diem, seize the journey. And it's not about one failure or success, but the road and the vehicles which will allow you to lead a rewarding life. The players work so strenuously and consistently, not for a moment, game, or season, but for an entire high school football experience. The qualities and character that they have obtained will lead them to success, whether in their careers or coaching their own children in sports. I know for a fact that the players embody all the qualities that make good sportsmen. I had the pleasure of working with them on the powder puff game. Who wouldn't be thrilled to be in the rain at 9 o'clock at night watching girls try to play football? But it was fabulous. The football player coaches were unbelievable. I have done many powder puff games, and this was the first one where you actually saw plays. The ball was thrown with precision, and it was caught. The girls ran the field with determination. It wasn't just the athletic component, but the humanity with which the young men showed to the girls. They made sure every girl got a chance to participate at practice and in the game if they wanted to. Some said absolutely not, it was the real deal. It made each class, the juniors and seniors, like little families, and gave the girls a sense of belonging to a team, notably if they had never been on one before. And it gave them a fond memory which will last a lifetime. You could truly see the happiness and sense of belonging in the girls' faces, and for that, I am truly grateful. So I hope I could attribute Latin and classical philosophy a bit to football. The players on the team are some of the most respectful and kind young men at Raritan. They have learned well from their parents, families, and coaches. So in the end, I would like you to remember carpe diem. Not because it's not about the moment or the season, but all the experiences the athletes have encountered on this team, which will lead them to achieve happy and successful lives. Thank you.
Thank you for everything. Thank you very much, Mr. Ryan. I've been doing this for a couple of years, and I can't remember a speech that kept me that entertained throughout. You know, that was something that I'll remember and I'll take in. Thank you very much. We're going to go to our awards, and then we're going to get to the buffet very shortly. We like to do
No makeup for it.
we like to do the award to start out with three of our most special trophies that we like to give out. They're team-oriented, they're character type awards, and just like the Oscars, we want to start off with something big. So, the first one is our Call of Duty Awards. The Call of Duty Awards are awarded to a player whose selfless commitment and tireless dedication inspired others to greater heights. In layman's terms, was this guy a good teammate? Was this guy somebody you were gonna battle with? Was this somebody that was always gonna have your back? And these two gentlemen basically, if I had a chance to put on the equipment again, I'd stand by their sides any day.
There's a shadow on the face.
This trophy is also presented by the Hazard Rotary Call of Duty Award for 2012. Offensively, Patrick Thorpe. Defensively, Andrew Stanley. Our next award is named after Joseph T. Oxley, who his son John coaches with us, and he's not able to make it today. He had a family trip that was scheduled early on. But Joe Oxley, I got to know before he passed away this last year. What a man of character. What a man of sacrificing for his families and his players for a long period of time. I had the opportunity when I was at his wake to meet former players that came back from the 60s and 70s, come and pay their respects and have a nice thing to say and talk about it. And the lasting impact that he got on them is something that I only hope to achieve, half as much. This year's Character Award goes to Peter Bertone. Great student and a hard worker, Peter always puts his teammates ahead of himself. He always knows the right thing to say and the right things to do. He holds himself with integrity and he plays with intensity, and that's what we kind of try to steer everybody in this program in that direction. Because of the large number of seniors, what we've been trying to do the past couple of years is to break it down into segments when we honor them. We're going to go 4 at a time. And what we have is, because a lot of the young kids have a hard time speaking in public, we try to take that away from them and have them prepare a little bit to say about one of the seniors that meant a lot to them. Now, just like anything else, whether it's a homework assignment or whatnot, they don't always prepare the way they're supposed to. So some of these guys on video might not be the best speakers, but just understand that the content that's behind it, they truly care about you guys and they mean the things that they say.
Skaggs, he was a great player. He always played his heart out for us. He always made practice for me and taught me a lot. So I just want to wish him the best in college and the rest of his life.
Nick was a great defensive player. He helped me with the TVs, he was good.
Both guys tried their best, and like I said, everybody up there, it's tough sometimes. So let's cut them a break, guys, when they're at your table right now, because they really tried their best on that. Nick Pasquenza, number 2. He's gonna hate to go first, but Nick was a guy that always got more out of his ability than he probably should have. Being his size, not being the fastest guy, not being the strongest guy, and it sounds like a lot of negatives. He played like he was 6'1", 185 pounds. Okay, he challenged people out there bigger than him every day. Every day, there was never a situation where he had the upper hand. And because throughout his life growing up, playing as a cornerback, okay, you know, whatever sport really it was, he could never look at having an advantage. He always had to create his own advantage. Nick was a player that gave 110%. He was our best defensive football player. We used to joke as a football staff, you know, when we go up against, you know, for example, Neptune, and he had to lock down those 2 wide receivers when they were on his side. We would joke that we have a mismatch, not them, and we truly believed that. We believed that we could put Nicky on any wide receiver, and he was going to do his best to make sure the ball didn't go into his hands. And for the most part, that's exactly what happened. He was an exciting player on kickoff returns. He was an exciting player when he had the ball in his hands. I'm going to miss him. I'm going to miss his energy. I'm going to miss the way that he just never backed down from anything. And hopefully that's his lasting legacy. And he did the number 2 proud. And I'm proud of him, Nick Pasquenza. I did hear a thank you, Mr. and Mrs. Pasquenza, while I was up here. I did hear that.
Jordan was like next to me on the field. He always told me what I did wrong and right, and he came up clutch in big moments when we really needed him to.
Jordan was a great leader out there this year. Always showing people what to do. He came in clutch. And that shaping it was never forget because we just connected like he. He's just a great wide receiver out there.
Number 3, I know we spelled your name wrong up there. There's to put it all out there. There was very few players that knew how to shine like Jordan did when his teammates needed him. It was obvious on the field in the games when we needed something to be completed, when we needed a play to be made. He was there. He was our offensive MVP. And this came from, I don't know if it was us butting heads for 3 straight years on the varsity level. We never always seen eye to eye, but we had enough respect, and he had enough respect, you know, and treating each other like men. We would go back and we have some conversations. I was always trying to get more out of him on the practice field, more out of him in the weight room, more out of him in conditioning, because I knew how special he could be on the field. And hopefully you saw some of that this year, because when the lights were shining bright, Jordan wants the ball. And that's what I'm going to remember about him. The fact that, there was never a moment too big. He was waiting for those big moments, and I wish we could have given him more. Jordan Joker.
Guido was probably one of the toughest kids on our team. Even though he was a lot smarter than people, he didn't let that put him down. He didn't care who they were. He would always hit them with everything he got. He would always come up with big plays, and always just never gave up.
Dom was a really good player. He was hardworking. He knew how to have fun. And when he wasn't having fun, he was serious on the field and off the field. I wish him luck in everything he does after high school.
Dom is one of the players I wish I had more time with. From his sophomore year, still kind of realizing what high school sports were about. Trying to get him to practice every day was a hard challenge. And through his junior year, and early on in his senior year, this kid had things happen to him that you just can't explain. It was never the best of luck for Dom when it came to, getting really right to the football season. Everything else he was able to do, but I missed out on the opportunity to coach him as much as I wanted to, because he's a really great kid, and I think we got some stuff out of him. And when the players say how tough he was, he would never back down. He really wouldn't. What I'd like to see him do now is that there's a physical toughness and there's also a mental toughness, and that's what we've been trying to get him to get to. And I know he's been improving, and I know that he's going to continue to work on it, because he could stand in there with the best of them, and he's got a heck of an opportunity ahead of him as he grows up. And I wish him nothing but the best. Hallelujah.
I looked up to him. He helped me with everything I had to learn to play, and he taught me everything. He's a great player, hard worker, and I wish him luck with everything he does in the future and college.
He always made practice for him, and doing drills with him. He taught me a lot, and he always tried for us, played his heart out, and I wish him the best in the future.
Eric Mojica, or the artist formerly known as Zeeks. He's another guy that we got too late. He didn't come onto the football field till his junior year. And even within his junior year, we had this conversation the other day. Thought he was a little flaky. I couldn't trust him. I didn't know what was going on. I didn't know where he was sometimes. As he grew up through the program, I came to really get to know what this kid is as a person, and he's a great person. He's a hard worker, and he cares about this football program, and he cares about his teammates as individuals. Outside of high school, he's going to have plenty of opportunities. He's a guy that he has his head on straight. He doesn't need football in his future. He knows that. He's looking at big colleges. But he's also looking at an opportunity, if it allows himself to go and see if he can extend his career. Because I think there's plenty more football for him to play. And I think at this point in his life, he's starting to realize how much it means to him. I just want to say to Eric that I'm glad that we had this season together, and I wish you nothing but the best. At this point in time, what everybody was waiting for, me to stop talking and tell everybody where the buffet lines were. Sadly, we're going to start with the parents first. What we want to do here, before I explain the logistics of everything, is that, no, not yet? Okay. We're going to go now. We're going to keep that forward. We're going to go to something else right now. We're going to go to the freshmen. Okay? Our freshman team again, and when you judge a freshman team, you judge it on a couple different things. Wins and losses aren't the way you judge a freshman team. Okay? Freshman teams are judged because a lot of times you got a fast guy that runs around the edge and nobody knows what force or contain or spill it is yet. They're learning the program. They're learning the ins and outs of an offensive and defensive system that's foreign to them. These guys, okay, went up against such a challenging schedule and held their own in every football game, even the game against RBC, okay, which they were in deep into the second half, a couple touchdowns here or there. Okay, they fought and they continue to fight, and they came to a lot of barn burners, 1 point this way, 1 point that way. And I'm proud of their effort. And what I'm judging them on is I'm judging them on how they held together, how tight of a commitment they have with one another in this class to stay strong. We had a meeting at the end of the year with the 36 kids that were on the team. And we had 30 of them sign an all-in pledge to be in the weight room and to be part of other sports in order to keep their continuous growth, okay, and development of not only a person, not only as a student, but as a football player throughout this year, leading up into August camp. Their fight makes me think that there's better days, okay, ahead of us. And I would like to take this time to again just acknowledge some of the behavior that we want to acknowledge in this program. We have something called the Mason Award. The Mason Award is given to freshmen, okay, like our Championship Conduct Award on the varsity level, which I'll explain in a little bit. People that are on time. People that work hard in the classroom. People that stay out of trouble and do the right things during school. Because those are the characteristics that we can build a program on. Okay, and without further ado, I'm going to make some of those announcements. The trophy is a trowel. Okay, something you see Coach Bone be using most of the time on his day-to-day activities. It says right now, Mason Award 2012. Our first one is to Nicholas Genovese. Joseph Stabile. Guys, you can come up after I call everybody's name. James Howard. Nicholas Pasquin. Billy Hutchins. Michael Lynn. Michael Gillen. Derek DeStasio. Adam Bryant. Mason Sheehan. And it's not named after Mason. Okay, Andrew Gonsis. Colin Mature. And Sean Friedman. These gentlemen just didn't do it on the football field, they did it in the classroom, and they're the type of people that we're going to continue to build this program upon. For those gentlemen that are here, please come up, accept your award. We're going to go through a picture. Coach Stems, if I can have a helping hand up. Okay, gentlemen, thank you very much. You can find your seats. Going back to the freshman schedule, besides the grueling schedule that they already had that we faced on the varsity level, we went out of our way to also schedule 2 games, one with Manawan, okay, and Shore Regional, who just finished second in the state championships last weekend. 2 programs that are on the top of the Shore Conference, and you know, to come out with the record that these guys did and compete the way they did, like I said, there's a lot of good moments to come in Rockin' football, and I want to point out 4 individuals, okay, that really made a difference. At the Sports Awards, we announced that our offensive MVP was Jonathan Rodriguez, and our defensive MVP was Sean Ennis. So if we could get another round of applause. There's also 2 other awards that we wanted to point out, because these 2 gentlemen really went above and beyond what we asked them to do. And this is also not only going to be a favorite of the coaching staff and his teammates, but it's also going to be a favorite of the parents. I think I gave 2 helmet stickers out for this guy to how he helped the parents clean up and everything on pasta night. He was truly a joy to have on the football team. You know, it wasn't a guy that went out there and made a lot of plays or was in a lot of tackles or threw a lot of touchdown passes. But Andrew Gonsis really went above and beyond to be a great teammate. And the Coaches Award for 2012 goes to Andrew Gonsis. And our most improved freshman, we had him at youth camp, and when I saw how his feet were and how he moved around, you know, I thought right away that he has an opportunity to be better than his brother, and his brother's a heck of a football player. Our most improved freshman in 2012, Sean Friedman. Okay, I'm sorry for playing with everybody's stomach before, but buffet is now ready. What we're going to do is we're going to go with the senior and junior parents, okay, as well as our honored guests first. What I'd like to point out is that there's 3 different stations back there that all are serving the same food. Okay, so logistics behind there is you have a table to the left, you have a table in the middle, and then a table to the right. So as you're going back there, let's individuals for their outstanding athletic and academic achievements. When it comes down to the all-division awards, before I start, I'd just like to let everyone know that when it comes down to the all-division awards, I've sat in these meetings for a long time. It's a very political system, and a lot of times, you know, when it comes down to kids getting recognized by the local paper, it's not always fair. And I know getting your name recognized as an individual, as a youth, as a teenager, you know, in the Asbury Park Press, means a lot. But I'd just like everybody out there to know that it doesn't always go to the best players. Sometimes it goes to individuals that are on the best team, or individuals that have gotten the most notoriety. In our situation, we did not receive many people, or multiple people, I should say, on this all-division team. I nominated several men, and I still believe a lot of these people that I nominated can play for any team in our conference. The only player that was recognized at our all-division team for the A Central was Patrick Toll. Patrick Toll. Patrick Toll was the only player that I was able to convince to play on anybody else's team. It was a unanimous decision when voted, and unanimous was what it took to get onto that team. We played in a very tough conference, with the majority of the teams making the playoffs, and it was a disappointing night. But I'm glad that Patrick made it, and I'm glad he was recognized by the rest of the coaches, and he will be somebody to be reckoned with next year. All-Division Award A Central, Patrick Toll. Our all-shore recognition this year will be limited to the academic side. The Shore Conference Coaches Association nominates 2 individuals from each team in the Shore Conference that maintain a high GPA of a 3.5 or higher, and is an integral member of their varsity football team's success. These gentlemen will be honored at a banquet in the spring for their outstanding achievements in the classroom and on the playing field. Our all-shore recognition award goes to Drew Stanger and Peter Bertone. The next award, the Lombardi Award, will also be presented at a banquet later on in February. The Lombardi Award, presented to a lineman whose performance symbolized the philosophy of the legend. This was a very tough, very tough award to choose because of the fact that we had a lot of candidates that I feel could have definitely been selected and portrayed this just as well as the person that won. A lot of times in the season that we had, it was really overlooked how well our offensive line performed. They were definitely the strength of our team from week 1 to week 10. And the gentlemen that served on it have really started to take not only a liking to it, but have also taken their commitment to a next level. And it started with these 3 seniors. Matt Bez, Pat Thorpe, and Matthew Colbert. But when you look at this board and where it's stemming from, you have to look at it not as a 1-year deal, you have to look at it as a 3-year deal. And the growth that I saw from this gentleman from his freshman year, okay, to his senior year, how he matured mentally and physically, how he gave his heart and his soul to his teammates, and how he really accepted his Raritan Rocket football family as an extension of his own. I think not only did he make a difference in his teammates' lives, I know he made a difference in my life, and I hope that this program made a difference in his. And our Lombardi Award winner for 2012 is Matthew Colbert. This is a part of the program where we're going to, again, take some of our seniors, okay? Remember their accomplishments.
He was a leader out there on the field this year, and at quarterback, and then when he switched over to the defensive side, he still helped me and Riley out. And then when we need him for field goals, he always came in clutch.
CJ, you're my boy. You started at quarterback, then you came to defense, and it was awesome. I wish I could play with you, but I couldn't. I wish you luck in college, and thanks for everything.
Keep it up.
Talk about CJ, you have to talk about what type of an athlete he is. He reminds me a lot of myself. And what I mean by that is that you don't look like an athlete, but for some reason you're able to do everything that a sport entails. I'd be very surprised if you could find a sport that CJ can't compete in, because he might not be the tallest, the fastest, okay, the most athletic, moving side to side. He knows how to put things together, and above all else, he knows how to compete. As a football coach, you look at him, and the struggle on my part has always been, where do we play CJ? And he's done more tricks and for us, moving from one side to another, from position to position. I don't know if there's a position on the field besides defensive line and offensive line that he hasn't played at one point or another. And he does that because he's a great teammate. He does that because, like he said to me, I just want to be there to compete with people. I just want to be there, so I can make a difference. And he was put into a lot of unfair situations where if you're the quarterback of a football team, a lot of times the eyes are on you. And I think we all know that CJ's number one thing is being a football player. And when we had so many people hurt on defense, going into the Monmouth Regional, game, and we had to move some people around. That next week, it was just an obvious thing that a guy that played so well for us on the defensive side of the ball as a junior, that in order to give us a chance, we had to ask him to leave the offense that he's worked so hard at and he was doing well at, and move to the defense. It was an unselfish move on his part, and I hope that all his teammates recognize that. He was asked to do, things that a lot of people won't do. I've been around kids that won't change, would rather quit than change their position. I've been around kids that would rather quit than change their number. But he didn't see himself as a quarterback. He saw himself as a football player, and more importantly, saw himself as a teammate to his Raritan Rocket family. And that's what I'm going to remember most about CJ. Now, obviously, on the football field, he's taken a liking to kicking. And just like I said about Jordan before, CJ was another guy that wanted the light on him. He would never shy away from those long field goals, and that's why we continue to send him out. Not because it was let's take a chance. It was because we thought that he was going to put it through. Because we've seen him do it so much in games, and we've seen him do it at practice. And the fact that he never shied away from a kick, he never shied away from his number being called, that's something I'm always going to remember about CJ. CJ, would you like to come up and say a couple words?
I just want to thank my parents for everything. They've been there for me through thick and thin. They've been there through all the losses. I want to thank the coaches for always being there. It was a rough season, but they were always there week in and week out for us. I want to thank my teammates for everything they put up with and all we did. I love you guys.
Raritan was really, he's like a real hard worker in practice. You know, me and him would be getting ripped on by Coach Bone, and I don't know, he was always willing to do what was necessary to help the team. He's a great player.
Raritan was one of the best defensive linemen that I've played with, and he taught me a lot throughout practices, and the fact that his favorite was run review because he really didn't have to do anything, and he just had to sit there.
Steve, you started us on.
Now, Pete's academic prowess has been discussed. His character has been discussed, and he does just as great of a job on the football field. He started as a sophomore when he was kind of thrown into the fire against Point Borough, and he played an excellent game. And from that point on, he continued to improve. From inside tackle to defensive end, Pete would do anything we asked him. Another guy who went to bind last year when we had to switch around our offensive line. When Matthew got injured and Thorpe had to move to center, Pete jumped right in that guard, and he was one of our top offensive linemen. We felt that we needed him because of the strength was in our offensive line to make him a defensive player, but he also moonlighted as a tight end when we needed him, when Sanchez was out, and before we found Cisco. But he was a guy that would do anything that we needed him to do. He played through injury, very, very painful rib injury. That again, it goes unnoticed because nobody knows how these guys fight through pain and what they go through week in and week out to make sure they're on the field. But that was a nagging injury, and that was something that Pete, as a defensive lineman, always having hands punched through your rib cage and everything week in and week out. It was something that I respect him for, the toughness that he played with. I know his teammates respect the toughness that he played with. There was more than one occasion where his teammates, maybe after the game, came to me and said, Pete Bertone kept his cool out there. Pete Bertone was a leader on the field. I think that he should be represented on the coin toss the next week. That happened several times. And the fact that not only did his coaches and his teammates recognize what he was going through and how hard he worked, I'm just glad the fact that he was able to be a senior leader for us this year, and I wish him nothing but the best. He's going to go on to have an engineering career, and I know he's going to work his tail off like he did all throughout football to make sure that happens. Peter, would you like to say anything?
I'm going to start off by thanking my parents for keeping up with me and putting up with all my stuff, complaining every single day of my life, and doing my laundry. I'd like to thank the coaches next because they taught me a lot, and they taught me a lot of valuable lessons that I will keep throughout my entire life. Coach Bone, thanks for putting up with me for 3 years and teaching me all that I learned about D-line. And I want to thank my teammates for having faith in me every single game. And Vinny, thanks for exposing me to everyone that I'm a lazy kid, but thanks for that.
Steve, you started as running back, and you're the most physical running back that I know. And just watching you truck kids and running over kids when we needed it the most was awesome this season. And then you got moved over to linebacker, which was awesome. Just to watch you put a body in someone and drive him back 4 yards and knock him down, and then not be able to do anything about it, which is awesome. I wish you luck in college. I hope one day I can play with you again.
Steve was a good linebacker. I liked working with him. He always worked with me. He had the physicality. He had the defense. He always worked, and I hope him the best in college.
Steve, without a doubt, is awesomely awesome. But just listening to Tyler and Pecora both talk about physicality and getting excited as they talked about their teammate, that got me excited when I was listening to this, because when Steve brought his A game, there wasn't many people on the field that could stop him offensively and defensively. He ran hard, came downhill hard, tackled hard. He was a guy that I saw numerous times from a sophomore to a senior year during practice. Teammates just didn't want to hit him. You know, guys would run away. Guys would go down to the ground. Guys would not take him on shoulder to shoulder. There are times that I wish he didn't take the other team on shoulder to shoulder and ran around him. But you know, his love for physicality is what made him a great football player. And just jumping to the same thing that I said about CJ is that I think we got to see Steven at his best when he got moved to defense. His love was always the offensive side of the football, but we had a couple of different people that could do a job as a running back. Jared Collins stepped in and did a tremendous job, as I thought. And Steven still got his carries, and when he got his carries, he made the most of it. But what we couldn't make up for the loss of Tyler in the middle. And it's my belief that you have to have a great player to play Mike linebacker for you. And Steven showed us against Monmouth Regional, you know, how effectively he could play the linebacker position. And if you continue to play outside linebacker with Tyler, you know, we might have had two all-shore players on the defensive side of the ball, just with that combination. Being in the middle, Steven did exactly what we asked him to. He became a better teammate. He worked harder for his teammates. He was involved in every play. And I have a tremendous amount of respect for the way that he handled that transition. Like I said, not a lot of people would do things that their coach asked them to do. You know, I was watching Football Life with Marcus Allen last night, and they were talking about how he got moved to quarterback and he purposely, you know, messed up 9 snaps in a row in the hopes that the coach would move him back to defense. Instead of doing that, the coach kicked him off the team, and then that kind of got his mind moving that he has to be a teammate first. That never had to happen with Steven. You know, Steven knew what the team needed, and like I said, he became a better teammate. I believe he became a better football player, and I believe we let everybody out know there just what a well-rounded athlete he truly is. Steven Wineski.
Oh, come on.
Sanchez, I was working hard in the weight room. Definitely looking forward to playing with you, but unfortunately you got hurt. Definitely could have used you. Big help, very athletic kid. I know you're really intelligent, so good luck in college and I hope you do well.
Sanchez was always helpful on and off the field. If you ever had a problem, you could always go to him for help. And even though he didn't get to play the whole year, he gave it his all when he was on the field.
Alex is a kid that I got to know a lot, and I wish I had more time with him on the football field and less time in the hospital. I wish his teammates got to know what type of football player that he would have been, if he could have kept himself healthy for his 4 years here. He was injury plagued. Sanchez had more bones pop out of their socket than I've ever met in a 4-year period. He wanted it real bad. He really did. And the way that he just kept, showing up, being there for his teammates, waiting his turn so the doctor would give him a clearance so he could finally get back into the game. And that's just how it happens. He waited, he was there, he practiced, he got cleared, and on the last play that he played as a high school senior, we scored a touchdown against Red Bank Catholic. That was also the last play that he played because his elbow was hanging out of his. It was bad. That's all I can say. It was bad, and the way that he was sitting up, I thought he just got the wind knocked out of him because he was just looking up like he was in a daze, and I didn't know if it was his shoulder again, and then Dr. Johnson was there and Miss Stump was out there on the field, and they kind of got my attention because they didn't want him to look at it, but then I saw his elbow, and it was something that was something that I'll never forget. But the toughness of that kid is something that I will remember. And I was there for some memorable moments. I was there for Alex's first proposal to a woman that he met. Happened to be a nurse at Alfred University. When he had to get his shoulder popped in for the first time, he was a sophomore. We drove to the nearby hospital in Hornell, and we had to get the clearance to them go on to pop his arm back in. So they gave him a little bit of the anesthesia, or the funny gas, whatever it was, and Alex fell in love with the nurse. He asked her to marry him. She said he was too young, and he was sleeping a couple minutes after that. So. What a great kid! He's got a heck of a future in front of him. And like Luke said, he's very intelligent, and I hope that he uses that intelligence for something great. Alex Sanchez.
Yeah, I want to thank my parents for putting up with all my injuries. I know my mom hated it, but I kind of wish I would live with you, but you gotta deal with your devil. Yeah, thank you. It was an experience, though. I'm not good with speeches, but whatever.
We're going to keep this moving. Before we go into any remembering the seniors, we're gonna break it up with a couple more awards. Championship Conduct Award presented to players who surpassed strict attendance, discipline, and academic policies. This is not a subjective award; it's completely objective. It goes through their attendance policy. It goes through their I go through the assistant principal logs, whether they got thrown out of class, or they had their cell phone out, or whatever it is, if there's any disciplinary issues. And then finally, I go through their first market period report card. And the goal is to have an 80 or better in all your classes. Now, with that being said, my colleagues in the math department we kind of took a couple people off this list that I thought was definitely going to be on this list. But between myself, Ms. Florio, Mr. Fagan, and several other math teachers, some guys that could have definitely earned this award because of their attendance was great and their discipline was great, didn't make it through. And that's what we're talking about, competing when you're in your class. I know a lot of guys take hard classes, AP classes, but don't be in an AP class just to get a 75. Be in an AP class because you want to excel. And when you're in an A-level class and you're getting a 93, don't stay in the A-level class. Get yourself to the AP class, okay, so you can excel and continue to push yourself. And that's what we're trying to do with this Championship Conduct Award. So with that being said, I'm going to start off with some of the younger guys. If I could have a coach up here help me hand this stuff out, that'd be great. Sophomores, Nicholas Macia, Kevin Kohler, James Behan, Kobe Jones, Riley Sullivan, and Brian Perry. Okay, guys, thank you very much. Guys, please take care of these trophies. There's always one kid per year that decides that they're going to drop theirs and their arm breaks off. Okay, we're not going to replace these this year. Juniors, Jared Collins, Connor Sheehan, Chris Passman, and Michael Pecora. Thank you very much. For the cue. Like I said, we lost out on some repeat winners that were going for 3 in a row, whether it was for attendance or grades. Nobody for discipline, though, in the senior class, which was good. But the ones that, again, have a championship conduct award, Peter Bertone, Andrew Stanger, and Kevin Noble, first year recipient. Thank you, gentlemen. We try to keep the academics up. It's important. It's important throughout your high school career. It's important throughout your college career. Guys, please understand that when you go to school to play football or you go to school to play baseball, the first thing that you are is you're a student first. Your responsibility is to make sure that you keep yourself not only eligible, that's not what it's about. Mediocrity is not going to help you out. You want to make sure that you're able to get into the graduate program of your choice. You want to make sure you can get into the graduate school of your choice. You want to make sure that you can, you just go on to that next level by having academic standards that are higher than where most of us need to have our standards right now. And again, me preaching to you right now is that be a student. Don't settle for mediocrity. 70s are not okay. B's are not okay. Get yourself to the A levels and keep moving yourself up. Everybody here can do that with a work ethic. You don't have to be blessed. Okay, these guys that you see here, that are getting these awards, sometimes it looks easy because they're getting all these awards. I can assure you, their hard work behind the scenes was never easy. The things that they do and they sacrifice to maybe not go out on a Saturday night or maybe not go out during the week. Okay, they're doing that to make sure that their grades are high, and they should be awarded for that. And that's where it comes down to our Academic Excellence Award. This right now is just to keep the competition going, awarded to players with the highest rank in their respective class. Okay, our Academic Excellence Awards are as follows. In our sophomore class, okay, even though we have a couple guys, and Chris Virtue is very close, okay, Kevin Kohler takes it right now. Okay, and Kevin Kohler is our Academic Excellence Award. After his sophomore year, or after his freshman year, he received this as a sophomore, and after his sophomore year, he's still receiving this now as a junior. He got off to a little slow start with his injury, and I know he fell back on Dr. Walsh and Mr. Fagan's work, and I know that's going to be a difference in the second, third, and fourth market period, but Tyler Jones still has the highest class rank out of the 11th grade juniors. And this has been a battle since freshman year, and they continue to keep chasing each other. But Andrew Stanger has completed the 11th grade with a higher class rank than Peter Bertone. So Andrew Stanger, please come on up. comes to class rank, you just keep fighting to move it up one at a time, one at a time, one at a time. Next thing I wanted to acknowledge is our JV spotlight. With the JV team, there's a lot of things that we use the JV team for. There's a lot of things that we need from the JV guys, and they go as the unsung heroes of the program. Okay, our JV guys give us tremendous looks within the season. Okay, they work hard to get themselves noticed on special teams. Okay, and we've had in the last couple of years a lot of varsity lettered sophomores that come into this program. Because we have had a lot of varsity sophomores, and because we haven't had the retention in the last couple senior classes, 10 from last year, 16 from this year, okay, it's hard for us to keep a sophomore unit together. That's something that we're working on, and that's why it's so important with Coach Dempsey and his mentoring of the freshman team to continue to produce classes of 30 or more freshmen to become sophomores. It's a thing that's going to take time. And we're not the type of program that are going to dress some of our juniors, okay, to make up for something on, on a Monday, like some schools do. And we're not going to take away and just play our 11 best guys at all points in time to get a victory when there's so many guys in our program that are continuing to develop, continuing to need the mentoring and work so hard for us through the course of the week. And we feel like it's more important to keep those guys involved because the more numbers we have in the program and the more guys we care about Raritan football is going to be, again, something beneficial that we can work off of. With the JV Spotlight, though, we had a couple guys, and they were honored. They were honored at the Sports Awards last weekend. And with that being said, our offensive and defensive players of the year were Riley Sullivan and Kevin Kohler. So if you guys can continue, please come up. One more time, guys. Those two gentlemen, like I said, amongst a bunch of others, with their athletic talent and their academic, their academic talent, they're going to be true leaders of this program in years to come. At this point in time, I'd like to acknowledge a couple more seniors.
All right, Drew Stang Bomb. He was probably the biggest mentor for me. He was team's captain. I mean, he loved everybody on the team. He was there for everybody. He made big plays. He was a player on the team that everyone needed and everyone loved.
Drew, always fun to be around. Great captain, great leader. I'm glad I had the opportunity to coach on the field. Good luck in college, lacrosse, and everything that you do in the future.
Other than just being, a tremendous football player for us, and our captain, something that the seniors, voted for unanimously. Drew's first love is not football. He's actually a very, very, very good lacrosse player. Good enough to be a scholarship athlete in lacrosse, and good enough to get into one of the top universities in the country, Drew University. And pun on words or whatever, Drew is going to Drew. But we are very excited for him. And I know when he gets there and he's going to have success both on and off the field. And I can't wait to see where he's going to be 5-10 years from now and what he's doing. But what I can say about him right now is that it was a privilege to coach Drew. He really took his responsibility as captain seriously. He really got into it. He was really looking for ways that he could help his teammates out and better his leadership skills. And we've had conversations, whether it was over the phone, whether it was in the parking lot, but always asking me, Coach, what else can I do? What else can I do? I feel like I can do more. He tried everything that he possibly could, and just by being that guy that did everything right in school, just be the guy that said everything right in the locker room, and just being the guy that knew what his responsibilities were on the field. He did his responsibilities, he executed his responsibilities, and I'm proud of the man that he is and what he meant to this football team. Andrew Stanger.
I want to thank the coaches for being there and making me the man I am today. Where's Coach Pacific? Where's Coach Pacific? That's two. That's two. I want to thank my parents, my dad. I know it's a ride for you, but being there at my games, giving me a high five after the games really means a lot. Thank you for that. And for my crazy mom, you go above and beyond. It's kind of, she drove me from a lacrosse tournament in, where were we? Austria, Long Island, all the way up to Alfred, and then in the same city drove all the way back home. And I don't know any mom that would do that. So thank you. And I'm not an athlete here today without your help. My family, for coming to all my games, and being here tonight means a lot. And for my boys, I love you guys and I wish you best luck. Oh, and the cheerleaders, thank you.
Yo, Nobi, my boy, always messing around with you, but we always love you. Whether it's defensive line drills when you get a coach ball making fun of you or whatever, it's funny. But you're a great player, good kid, you're a good senior. If you love in college, whatever you did, it's for you, boy.
Noble was a very hard worker. He was a great kid. He always showed up to practice on time. He always gave his all, whatever he did. And I'm glad I met him.
Kevin Noble, and I'm going to kind of tie this into another award. I'm going to present it at the same time because I need to talk about it right now because the award that he's going to receive is really what he is as a senior. Kevin came out as a sophomore, never playing football before, didn't have freshman football, didn't have Pop Warner football, and he came out onto the football field and he wasn't what you stereotypically would say looked like a football player. On the football field, Kevin could be awkward at times. No, again, and he would tell you that first. He's not the most athletic guy in the world. And me saying this to you as his coach when he was a sophomore, I never thought that Kevin would be able to make it to being a productive varsity football player. I was dead wrong, and I'm glad that he had the opportunity to prove me wrong, and I'm glad that he stuck with it, because without him pushing through, coming to every practice, being there, caring about his teammates, doing the right thing, he might not have had the opportunity to cherish a tackle on the varsity football field or celebrate a sack with his teammates. And those are the memories, from a year, whether it's a state championship year or it's a year that you're 0-10, those memories of celebrating with your teammates and those memories that you have of seeing, excitement on your player's face as a coach, those are what you take with you. Those are what you remember and you put into your bank, and those things that you never forget. Kevin Noble's ability to dig deep through everyday adversity on the football field, being outmatched, outmaneuvered, he was able to overcome that with a great work ethic in the classroom, on the field, in the weight room, through conditioning, and he really turned himself into a strong, confident young man, and that I'm so honored to be the coach of. And as we're doing the senior moments, I'd also like to announce that Kevin Noble is also the recipient of the Shovel Award.
I just want to thank my parents. They couldn't be here tonight, but and I want to thank the coaches, thank all the players. You're always there for me, and yeah, it's fine.
Rob didn't play like most of the year because he got an injury, but during practice, he was a leader on and off the field. He would help me during school, but not only during school, he would also help me on the field, teaching me techniques and how to get better.
He was a cool linebacker. It was good working with him. I just hope him the best in the future.
Calvin is a multifaceted human being. He can do a lot of things well. He's a good student. He's a good person. He's a good football player. And yes, he's a good actor as well. And he was a guy that, you know, it's been tough for me with these last couple of years because some of my, I joke around is that, you know, we haven't had a playoff appearance, but I've had 4 leading men in the drama club as of right now, and Rob is going to be my next guy because I know he's going to go out there and do his best job yet. I wish that his season didn't end early, and the one thing that's special about Rob is his ability to reflect on things. And there's many opportunities that I had to talk to him after games when he just, you know, it was hard for him because he really thought, especially in some of the close ones, that he could have been a difference out there and maybe put his teammates over the top. And I wouldn't second guess that because that was the kind of kid that he was. But he's, you know, he said to me numerous times that I wish I did more in the weight room. I wish I didn't try to get out of it at some points in time. I wish I loved it. And him to be able to reflect on that still at a young age and understand that he missed out on some opportunities only tells me that he's not going to allow himself to miss out on opportunities that come in his future. And that's one of the things that you get from coaching is that, you know, it doesn't maybe happen for us now. It might not have happened for this team, but if guys reflect like Rob Cowan can reflect, he will never miss another opportunity. And he's going to make sure that he goes to wherever he needs to go to accomplish whatever he needs to accomplish. And, you know, Rob, you went from our sack leader as a junior. We're expecting a lot from you. And I know that if your season didn't end early, you would have gave us as much as you possibly can. Rob Cowan.
Obviously this year didn't go as I planned, but I just want to thank my parents, the coaches, the players, the cheerleaders. You guys supported me so much, and at first I was really bitter about what happened. I didn't really understand it, but it just helped a lot that you guys were there for me, and I appreciate that. Thanks for that.
But my best, my boy, man. I'm gonna miss you next year. Hope you do good in college. Keep pursuing what you want to do. I just want to thank you for everything. You're a great offensive lineman, a great mentor, a great leader. You always helped me out when I needed it. You helped me become a left tackle, a good one too. I just want to thank you.
Bess was always there for me. Like if I needed him on the line, like in practice, if Thorpe was out, he helped me with the plays. In that game, I had to go in for Thorpe. He helped me with the plays if I needed help. Man. He's just a good person. Kind of sad for losing him.
And you can't really understand the bond that an offensive lineman makes with another offensive lineman more than any other position on the football field. What those guys do together, how they have to work as one, it takes special people, and the bonds that offensive linemen make are ones that hold true throughout the course of your life. And we had a very special group of guys, and Matt Bez, and Matty Bitts, like he's known on the streets. He really did. It's okay. Just leave it. Don't let it get onto the varsity award or anything like that. But what Matt Bez did was he brought an enthusiasm to our team and an enthusiasm to the offensive line. He was the kind of guy that and we didn't have many that were vocal leaders. Okay, Matt Bez was a vocal leader, and for the sake of the team and for the sake of me and for the sake of just trying to get better, there's a lot of times that he had to come in there and force emotion and force enthusiasm, even on days when he wasn't feeling it. You know, you'd always get a woo or some type of yelling, and there was something, you know, that was going on. You know, and obviously him being a I don't know what to say. I don't want to say the wrong thing. He's emotional. Let's put it that way. He's emotional. And a lot of his teammates knew just how to push his buttons. And you'd always have you know, a situation where I wasn't sure if Bez was just being excited or if Bez was really angry. But either way, we took it because we needed that type of enthusiasm there. And I just want to go in again, like I did with Kevin. There's another award that I want to give to him because he really, as a senior class, the one thing I can say about these senior class, the only negative I can say about them is that they didn't love the weight room. They didn't love it. Matt Bez loved the weight room. Okay, he really did. He might not have been the strongest kid on the bench. He might not have been the strongest kid on the squat. He might not have been the strongest kid on the power clean. Okay, but when it came to physical overall strength, Matt Bezlanovich was, you know, our strongest player. He was the guy that kept it moving in the weight room. He was the guy that even when we went out to condition as a big guy, you know, was still pushing himself and getting himself through all those workouts and being a great leader up on the field. And I hope that when we go into the weight room again in January for the young guys, that we remember the emotion that Matt brought, because we're going to need guys, not just one, not just two, but we're going to need a room full of guys with emotion, being in everybody's face, getting everybody up, and making sure we can take the weight room, which is the first part of our season, to a next level. We were in there, make no mistake about it. These guys sacrificed and we're in there. We just left a lot of weights unmoved, okay, and we left a lot of maxes maybe not at their full potential. But if we could remember the lessons that Matt Bez taught us, and we can get a couple guys in there with the same enthusiasm, we're going to have a heck of an off season. So Matt Bez, come up and talk to your teammates and also accept your award for strength and conditioning.
Whoa. I'd just like to thank my family over here for putting up with all my crying after practice. Yeah, I did a lot of that. I'd like to thank the coaches for always being there. And yeah, this is a lot harder than I thought. Alright, my teammates, thank you for always being there. You made these 4 years one of the best 4 years of my life. And I'd like to thank you guys, and I'd like to thank the cheerleaders also for always making those cookies, because who doesn't want a cookie after the game, but, you know. Alright, thank you.
He even had street cred holding the microphone like a rapper and everything like that. I might have to do this for the rest of the... I don't know, it just feels weird. It's much more comfortable like this. Going on to just moving on and keeping this thing going. Our strength and conditioning award. It's not just about the weight room. It's about conditioning. It's about being ready. It's about pushing teammates. It's about being good teammates. And the guys that we're about to announce, along with Matt Bez, did a tremendous job. It's an all-around spring, okay, through summer, okay, through the in-season program, okay, in the winter months, through a 3 or 4 year commitment, okay. We acknowledged 2 people this year in each grade because we thought it was more fair to do a skilled position and then do a fat guy or a lineman position. And again, when we say fat guys, we mean that with absolute love. There's nothing better you can be on our team than a fat guy. But when we're talking about strength and conditioning, they need to have great desire and commitment, and they need to do it all the time. We are tremendous in the summer. We are great when school's on. Okay. We slack a little bit when it comes to the in-season program, and that's the next thing that's on our agenda. What these seniors did allow us to do, which we never did before, is we lifted directly after the game. okay, which would be the next day. If we had a game on Friday, we lifted on Saturday, and we had a lot of Friday night games. That allows us, just like a professional team, a college football team, to get your blood flowing again, okay, and make sure that you actually, it's also helping you recuperate from a hard night. They allowed us to do that because they were there, because they were committed. And just like we talked about the off-season, the in-season has to become more, again, rigorous. And that's going to be relied on the juniors and sophomores to really allow us to coach you hard. But these guys that we're about to show, okay, stood out above their teammates in all aspects of the program. As sophomores, our Skill Position Award recipient, Riley Sullivan. It's pretty impressive to see a quarterback work out as hard as he does and how strong he is. You don't usually see that. We got a couple of them, but it's you know, when he's in the weight room again, there's, you know, he's doing snatches, he's doing overhead snatches, and it just looks natural. And our big guy award goes to Chris Vercio. Vercio had the privilege of being pulled into a lifting group with none other than our own house. And as a sophomore, he hung with those big guys as much as he possibly could, and he got better for it. Our junior recipients: skill player, Jared Collins. Like I said, it's rare to have a quarterback on the list. The fact that we have two quarterbacks that love to get after in the weight room, that's something that we like to see, because again, being leaders on the field, you need to be leaders everywhere. These two gentlemen understand that. Okay? Our junior recipient, Eric Friedman. We've already announced Matt Pislanovich, but Matt, if you can come back up here with your teammates to get a picture for our big guy Strength and Conditioning Award. And our skill guy, this wasn't really close. Okay, he really did a great job this off-season working on his body, getting himself in the right state of mind. Okay, preparing like he was going to be a varsity football player, and that he was. Eric Mojica. The next award that we gave out goes to it's named after a former player of ours that we tragically don't have in our lives anymore. But Chris Carroll Ironman Award was exactly what he was. If anybody ever had the opportunity to play with him, or play with him or watch him play, he was the best defensive player I've ever coached. And the toughness that he showed on and off the field was something that was you know, to look at will put you in awe. And this Ironman Award this year, there was one person on the team that played every snap of every game, both sides of the ball, at two of the most grueling positions, offensive tackle and defensive tackle. And this year's Ironman Award goes to Patrick Toll.
Did he stand down there? You gotta post that one, man. That's a good one.
The fact that when I was a wrestler in high school and I was 189, I got bumped up to heavyweight a couple times. And standing next to him, I'm just glad he wasn't the guy I was going against in those times. And we got another remembering senior. So right now, before we get to the cheerleaders, we're going to finish off our senior presentations.
Kind of sad for losing.
Thorpe always worked hard at practice and played the whistle games. And he gave everything in every game he carried.
Hope he's one of the craziest, most hardworking people I've ever met, and I'm glad that he taught me what I know now for the offense, and I'm glad I met him.
How's helping?
We talked about how great of a teammate Thorpe was, and I want to acknowledge what makes him a great teammate. It wasn't just his commitment to the program, his commitment to the weight room. It wasn't just about making himself into a football player that this town can be proud of. It wasn't the fact that he overachieved, when given his physical abilities. But it's what he meant to his teammates and what he did. Well, there was not a guy that would go search out a younger guy more than he would. Trying to take them under his wing, explain things to him. There was not a guy that would go and, pick up a guy that needed a ride or couldn't get there. Thorpe was the guy that would be like, you know what, I can come and pick you up. I think even today he probably drove, a couple of his teammates here that couldn't get a ride. Guys know who they can rely on in the locker room. Okay, and guys go directly to Pat. Coaches know who you can rely on, and as coaches, we went directly to Pat as well. He also did a tremendous job of always being at team functions that a lot of guys don't think are team functions. Showing up every morning, every Friday morning, and being a representative of FCA. Something that I'm very proud of us getting started again. And Ed's here, and he's over in the corner, and then it was all started with Dom Del Russo, and we lost Dom last year as a senior, and Pat really stepped into that place. We always knew where he was going to be. I'm going to miss sitting every Friday morning. There's Thorpe right next to me. I'm going to miss that. He really, I get a little emotional because there was thought in the beginning of the year that he wasn't going to be with us. And I'm glad that he was, because it was I couldn't imagine this team, and I'm sure his offensive line buddies couldn't imagine that offensive line without him. So Pat Thorpe.
First off, I want to thank the coaches for everything. Taught me everything. Made me a great player. Coach Gibb, I still hate you. I want to thank all the players. I love you all. You're all my family. And I can't imagine living without you guys. Ed, I want to thank you for coming every Friday to SVA and doing it. I want to thank my parents for doing everything, washing my equipment, going through everything. Dad, I want to thank you for driving me everywhere, picking up my teammates and driving them home. Driving me to practice at 1 o'clock in the morning or whenever you decided to start practice. Since I was a little kid playing Pop Warner, you've always been at my games and driving me to practice, home. Thank you. I love you.
It's helped me this year with my staff and stuff, and get the transition from regular O-lineman to center. And he was a productive player, and it's going to be real hard to fill his shoes.
Oh yeah, times. Did so much practice. He did what he had.
Al, would you like to come up? I can speak for all of his teammates when I tell you that, again, Matt was a guy that his teammates just love. They love him. He has a sense of humor. He's a funny kid. He's made me laugh at moments where I really didn't think I should be laughing. But he's got that way about him where, you know, if there's something to be said, he's going to have a comment. The comment's going to be funny whether it's appropriate or not. He's a guy that got a lot out of this program, and you know, that's what I truly care about, is the fact that I think when you have a relationship with player and coach, you know it's a good relationship if both people got a lot out of it. And I think the coaching staff can say the same thing, and I think House will be able to say that he got a lot of it about being part of a Rocket. The one thing that I'm going to say about Matt is that he has grown. He is not yet complete, and I don't think he views himself like that, but I think there's a lot more that we can squeeze out of you, big guy. Okay, I really think that you have more than you think. I'm serious. I think that there's a lot more than you think you have, and you have a lot more to offer than what you think you have, and that was one of the goals of this year, and hopefully to make you realize that you're special, and you can do whatever you want to do, and hopefully you'll find, you know, those pieces that fit together, and you got to continue to search for them, because they're not going to just show up because you want them to show up, just like everything else. Got to continue to work, continue to get better, and we're going to be proud of what you accomplish. Okay? Matthew Colbert.
Just want to thank all the coaches for being there for all 4 years. Drew being the salty skinny guy now. On the next one. My parents were sitting there and dealing with all my stuff after the games, coming in all pissed off. And that's it.
Okay. Times, did show practice. He did what he had to do. He came in, worked hard, always in the gym with us.
Ryan Connor is a good athlete and he likes to practice. Also, he's been wanting to work with you on the ground.
Christian was like a friend to me on the field. He would always like help me out since I was new to the defensive end position and he already played it. And it was always fun when Coach Bone would make fun of him and Nobi, just the way they acted. And
Cruz, where do I start? Well, he's a gym rat. He's always getting after it in the weight room. You know, he's got that bench. And you know, he was a hard worker on and off the field, and he's a great all-around kid. I love him.
I don't know if Christian paid them to bring the sledgehammer into the talk. Somehow a sledgehammer got into there, but that's fine, because you know the type of position that Christian played, those guys really got to work. You know, and the sledgehammer, you know, it defines hard work when you look at it. It defines strength. And you know, Christian had all those characteristics. Christian was again another guy that when you look back on his career, from a freshman football standpoint and sophomore year, I was thinking this kid is just not together. And I think he knew that he was not together. And he worked so hard, okay, from that sophomore year to his junior year, and he became a productive varsity player. And when I say productive, I mean that he became a leader. He became a leader in